I'm Rob. It's garage time. Hey everybody, here we are in the garage. It is a fine, cool, but sunny October day. We made ourselves a list right here of things we need to do to possibly get this thing running at some point. The thing is, the number one on the list is rub the floor and the firewalls flat. As you can see, the seat is out, the engine and transmission are out. The brakes are gone, the throttle's gone, the shifter's all gone. That's so I can rub a whole bunch of welds flat. I don't know if I'll show you all of it, but I will say, you know, who doesn't like a good rewarding session with the Martian Death Ray? Okay, so as you have seen, I have ground down all the welds, and now it's time to slap some paint on there. But first, solvent cleaning paint prep. For splish splash, I was taking a bath. So now we're just kind of wiping down these areas that are ground away. Okay, well, as you can see, hoops have in fact been jumped through and the new structure is painted. So number 2 on the list is complete. What you're looking at here now is the engine and transmission clamped down onto the chassis cart, which is going to be turned into an engine test running stand because I need one of those so that I can get the fuel system and ignition system sorted out on the XK 6-banger, and also test run that 250 right there. And then later on, test run the 230 once I get that all rebuilt. But yeah, and that will be some other episode down the line. Hey everybody, okay, so today is getting ready to create the floors that are going to go in there. And what I got to do is measure so that I can cut some of that aluminum over there. Right there are 2 big sheets of aluminum. Here's the piece that will become the floors and the transmission and drive shaft tunnel cover and the rear wall of the passenger compartment. And right down here is another piece that will become the firewall. Let's whip out some measuring tools. I already know what they have to be, but I'm going to measure it anyway so you guys can see me measuring, because that's fun. Or boring. From up there to there is like 50 3/8. So we're going to cut it to 51. So the first piece we're going to cut is 51 inches long by 19 inches wide. we go. There's one floor panel and the second floor panel. 2 days go by and the warm weather is apparently over for the rest of the season. I got the panels for the floor rough cut. What I'm going to do is take a piece of cardboard, cut it to this size, and then I will lay it up against the bottom so I can trace it out. Once I get the template made, then I can trace it out onto the aluminum and cut the aluminum. We have a notch right there to clear the Watts link mount. Let's just start here. Can you see where I'm going with this? Okay, so, whoa, yeah, here we have our successfully notched and trimmed template. Let's see if we can get it in there in one piece. Right. So far, so good. Come on. There we go. Put a shit down. We have, there we go. Look at that, will you? The driver's side floor template fits. Let's yank this out of here, transfer these notches to the aluminum, and then see if I can get the aluminum in here in one piece. Cutting that. Got it. There it is. I had marked the template with the hole locations for the rivet, so before trimming the floor panel to shape, I transferred the hole locations to the aluminum by center punching into the floor panel through the cardboard template. Do you guys really want to keep watching all of this? Pretty sure the answer to that is no. So let's move on to the ritualized pilot drilling of the rivet holes. So after drilling an absolute crap ton of pilot holes, I used a 1-inch hole saw to bore the clearance holes for the seat mount studs. And then finally, after all the holes were drilled, I cut the floor panel to the shape that I'd traced out from the template. And after a bunch of massaging, the test fit. There we go. No. Well, look at that, will ya? That's fine. Yeah. Hokey smokes, Bullwinkle. There's a floor in there. Let's stand on it. A couple of weeks went by and I successfully got through my 68th birthday, and then my son Cody came out and I gave him the task of match drilling the couple of hundred holes between the two floor panels and the chassis. You can just see there in the bottom of the frame that there's a panel also in place on the passenger side floor. The passenger side floor panel is a mirror image of the driver's side, so all I had to do is flip the template over and trace the reversed shape onto the aluminum sheet. There were a few minor massagings needed, but like the driver's side, it just kind of fell into place. So while Cody drilled holes, I fabricated the driver's side back panel. I used the same cardboard template method to get the initial shape for cutting. The template is there in the top right of the frame. Cutting and notching went exactly as it had done for the floors, but the back panels needed a couple of bends at the top and bottom. So, all right, so I have to bend metal. I've already done one bend, and I don't have a sheet metal brake, but what I do have is a temporary bench, a piece of 1 inch by 3 tubing with a rounded edge, and a bar of 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch 60-61 that I can lay on top of that, and then a couple of clamps. This is the same method I'd used when I made the interior sheet metal for the three-wheeler. Clamp the raw material between two solid metal bars, or as in this case, a solid bar and a thick-walled rectangular tube, and then beat on it with a hammer. I've got the tube on the bottom because of its rounded corner, which puts a nice inner radius on the flange being formed. Okay. Once I'd gotten the driver's side back panel made and successfully checked in place, I used it as a model for forming the flanges on the passenger side panel. And now we jump ahead in time a couple of days to the floors are in good shape. I have formed the back panels for the driver's side and for the passenger side, and I broke up my clecos and got those stuck in place. And what I've been doing this afternoon is making the usual cardboard templates for the bottom sections of the firewall. We have the driver's side right here, the passenger side over there, and the next thing I have to do is take this piece right here, which is a remnant from the floor panels, stick it in this place right here, like so, and then trace the other side so that I know what the shape is. Now let's take a look and see our handiwork. There it is right there. Keep the aluminum chips out of my eyes for once. So we have done the requisite massaging. Let's give it a test fit. Oh, so far so good. Look at that, will you? Perfect. With the upper firewall panel complete, I then fabricated the two lower panels using the same trace, cut, check fit, and massage methods with which I'd made the floors and back panels, followed by the requisite metric crap ton of marking and match drilling to the chassis. To finish the lower firewall panels, I needed to form a shallow bend on the outside edges. I used a different method for that than I had used for the bends on the back panels. And inspired by Carrozzeria Autosport circa 1965, here comes some exposition. Okay, so I've got to explain a thing here. Over there, up against the wall behind the ladder and those helmets, you will see one of the original drawings for this here chassis right here. Let's walk through and I'll show you some detail stuff. Come here, you. Right here on the drawing, this line right here, this tube right here is the firewall. And as you can see, the firewall, the plane of the firewall ends at these two angled tubes right here. And so what that means is there are two vertical tubes at each end of this tube, and those tubes are parallel to this angle. Show you what I mean. Come right down here onto the chassis. So here we have the firewall right here. The plane of the firewall. You've seen me create the panels for that and drill them. But this tube right here, the surface of this tube is not parallel to these tubes which go across the plane of the firewall. This tube right here, the outside is parallel to this tube right here, which angles in. And I happen to know that this angles in at about 8 degrees. So what we have to do is take, this is the driver's side, we have to take the outside edge, let's flip it over so it's in the right orientation. This is the outside surface that will face the engine. This edge right here has to bend this way about 8 degrees. So what I'm going to do, in fact, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to bring things outside and show you what I'm going to do. Oh, wait a minute. I thought we were doing sheet metal work. Why are we out here with a chainsaw and a block of wood? I'll show you. That's right. Cut a straight edge on a chunk of tree stump, place the aluminum over that straight edge, and beat on it with a hammer. And the finished product, clecoed in place. You'll see the two bolts with the large hole between them. That's where the steering column comes through the firewall. Hello everyone. It is today the, as you can see by the date that just flashed in above my head, this whole process of getting the sheet metal in has taken a good long while. 3 months, October, November, December. Yeah, 3 months, getting on to 4. But we are finally at a place where I can start riveting all of those sheet metal pieces into the chassis. And what I have been doing is taking them all out, except for the passenger side floor, which unfortunately, due to my own ineptitude, has some hole misalignments going on, which I am checking out right now. But then after that, I'm going to clean up all the drill dandruff that is around. And once I've got that all cleaned up, I'm going to begin the process of riveting, which you will get to see in excruciating detail. Or at least you'll get to see one panel, and then I'll just 900x through the rest of them. The last few fabrications I had to do were this corner piece right here for the firewall cowl hoop, just to fill that in right there, and then this little patch plate right here to fill in the area above the master cylinder mount. And since those are all done, like I said, I am ready to start riveting. Firing up the rivet gun. Good times. Sheet aluminum comes with a plastic cover stuck onto it to protect it from damage and corrosion during storage and delivery. So you have to peel it off before attaching it permanently. Peeling the plastic off takes a little while. And so time passed. On and on and on it crept. The great glaciers coming again, scraping the land clean. Entire species being born, living out their lives for thousands of generations and then dying away. Humanity itself, evolving away from Homo sapiens, leaving its earthly bounds, and on, Robb, ever the cursed man, cursed forever, to peel the protective plastic from sheets of aluminum. The first step in attaching the floors is doing what I call glooping the chassis. And that simply means laying down a bead of automotive RTV on all the chassis tubes that are going to get riveted. You'll notice that there are 3 that I don't do. Those are pieces of angle steel that are in there for the seat mounts. And then I hold the floor panel in place using Cleco pin clamps, an essential tool for riveting. Pre-place 103 rivets into their match drilled holes. And then it's time for fun with the rivet gun. And there you have it, folks. The driver's side floor panel is riveted in all its shiny glory. Okay, so how about now we crank the camera speed up to about 900x and get the rest of those panels in. last thing we're doing is the patch plate up here in the corner of the upper firewall. Got a little corner we got to fill right here over the master cylinder mount. So let's grab the gloop gun. There we go. Squidge. Yeah, we're gonna squidge a bunch onto there. Oh, is my hat in the way? No, guess not. Not yet. Oh, look at you. Oops. We may have to hit that with a hammer. Maybe. Possibly. Okay, now. And we bring the camera over to here. Live panning. So that you can see this business. And then we go right here. We will and right here. There. Kind of give it the massive gloopiness. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so now we have two pieces we have to put in. We have the infamous and ever wonderful patch plate. Here it is, right here. Ready? We go in like so. Wait, no, this way. There we go. And there's that. Let's... One for you. Come on, one for you. There, that one's good. There. That worked. One for you. Yeah. Oh, seriously? Oh. I love when they do that. Oh, don't shoot the camera. Woohoo! There we go. Okay, now. Oh, groovy. Groovy, man. Oh, I have one more structural rivet left. I better use that. There we go. Boom. There we go. Curry. Seriously. There we go. One. Two. 3, 4, and here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Get out of there. The very last rivet. Nope, no, whoa, no. I got one more. One. Come on. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the very last rivet that I'm going to pull. And after I do this, the firewall and the floors and the back panels are in. Ready? Ta-da! I know it seems somewhat anticlimactic, but this thing now has a firewall and floors and back panels in the passenger compartment, and I am going to reassemble it and then put the motor in, and then we're going to get serious about connecting all the systems that will make this thing run. And I'm really excited about that. Yeah, so as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. And please do like and subscribe. And I will see you around this channel.
1, 2, 3, 4. Well, my daddy, he raised stock cars a long, long time ago at New England's fastest quarter mile, doing on Western Road. He and Mom would rally around in their MGTD, but they bought a Porsche 356 to you, my mom and me. I was raised by gearheads, this apple fell not far from under Daddy's tutelage, messing around with cars.
Let's see, what am I talking about here? What was the next thing I was going to talk about? I forget, because that's just who I am.